from a shady place.
During a time where corporations overrun talent, it's always nice to see when something new and exciting comes around the corner. And during a year that contains a lot of solid music, there's one album that really stuck out for me. I wouldn't ever consider myself a music reviewer, but the album Miles by hip-hop group Blu in Exile isn't just criminally underrated, but it's something so fresh and distinctive it takes you back to the golden age of hip-hop. Before I listened to this album, I really didn't know much about the backstory of Blu in Exile, but in the early 2000s, these guys were on fire. Their first album, Below the Heavens, was a critical masterpiece, and at their prime, their popularity was skyrocketing. And goddamn, were they ever close to that fame and fortune. With Blu's second album, York, there would have been a huge possibility of these guys being the next big hip-hop talent, up there with legends like Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole. With Blu's second album never publishing under contract problems, things began to fall apart, and I won't go into too much detail, but Blu in Exile seemed to have lost a lot of their prior fame. 13 years later, Miles drops. And I mean, god damn, does it drop. Their production here is so well done. We got some experimentation to make beats interesting, but Blu in Exile, the roots of relaxing, comforting soul and jazz is never lost. I think what I like most about Blu's lyricism is that they're a part of the 99% of musicians that failed to make it in the industry. There's bars of money issues and Blu struggling to supply for his family, and how they're always determined to stay on the grind, even when they're at their lowest. I also love how a particular word can be continuously mentioned, like the word blue. The word isn't just dynamic to replace sadness in the musical group, but just look at the title name. It's almost as if I'm being like hypnotized as Blu is repeatedly being mesmerized to the listener. Also, Miles Davis is often mentioned, even naming a song after him and calling the album Miles. He's usually brought up to praise his work and ambition.
This is what I'm gonna sing. Sons of sadness.
The song feels distressed, like there's a build-up slowly rising. It hits you. Blu tells the listener why Miles is mentioned. Blu is going to name his son Miles, concluding why the album is called Miles, and it's so wonderfully done.
He has no eyes, though he sees. He has no ears, though he hears. He remembers everything with the aid of mind and memory.
I don't really have much to say about this album, but it frustrates me how so much heart and imagination can be put into an album, but it never gets the praise it deserves. But, I mean, we got one-hit wonders, like DaBaby. We got Tekashi 6ix9ine. Yeah, it's funny, because 69 is the sex number. You see? You see that? Yeah. Pretty funny shit. I know it's a short video, mostly because I don't have a lot to say about this album, but to tell you that there's just so much heart and passion that's put into this project. Ill Fated describes Blu in Exile perfectly, so it's only fair that I give Blu in Exile my astounded Teen Choice Awards. Congratulations. I'm gonna let this one run.
Yeah, dear Lord, I had a dream, everyone was one religion. By the year 2020, nobody was a Christian. Nobody was a Muslim, a Catholic, or a Buddhist. Nobody was atheist or a Judas. But everyone on earth heard God spoke and everybody listened. And everyone knew it was one world that we lived in. We saw ourselves in each other but also knew the difference. So we joined hand in repentance for humanity. And everyone agreed we are a family. We agreed to stop eating meat and ban all brutality. We destroyed every gun ever made from the face of the earth. And we disassembled every bomb ever made to save Earth from any further destruction and corruption. And we went into production, producing everything we ever wanted. I dreamed the world had a harvest that cured global starvation. In a year's time we all declare one nation, one world, one man in a new